In the bustling heart of Rome, the Forum was alive with merchants, politicians, and gossip. Marble columns cast long shadows as senators debated in the Curia. Among the crowd walked Marcus Varus, a young man with sharp eyes and quiet purpose. His father had died mysteriously 3 years ago, leaving behind whispers of betrayal. Now, Marcus sought answers in the very place where power and lies intertwined. Marcus had grown up hearing tales of Rome's glory, how legions conquered distant lands, and how the Senate guarded the Republic. But he had learned that glory was gilded bronze, beautiful on the outside, corroded within. His father, once a respected magistrate, had spoken of reforms that would anger powerful men. Days later, he was found dead in the Tiber. No thief had taken his coin purse. The river had been his assassin's ally. Rumors pointed toward Gaius Severus, a cunning senator with ambitions that stretched beyond the city walls. Gaius was known for smiling as he cut a man's future to ribbons. Marcus had no proof, only fragments of overheard conversations and the uneasy glances of old family friends. Still, he resolved to shadow the senator, watching his movements like a hawk waiting for the right to scent. One evening, as torches lit the streets, Marcus followed Gaius toward the Suburra, the district where Rome's respectable face dissolved into shadows. The air was thick with the scent of wine and danger. Gaius slipped into a dimly lit tavern, speaking to a hooded figure at the back. Marcus could not hear their words, but he saw the glint of a dagger passed beneath the table, an unspoken pact sealed in steel. Marcus returned home to his modest domus, his mind a storm. His mother, Livia, warned him against digging into the past. "The Senate is a nest of vipers," she said, her voice trembling. "You cannot fight them without being bitten." But Marcus believed that justice was worth any risk. He took his father's old signet ring from a drawer, feeling the engraved eagle press against his palm like a silent oath. The next day, Marcus visited his childhood friend Lucius, now a scribe in the Senate archives. Lucius hesitated before handing him a sealed scroll. "This contains minutes from the last meeting your father attended," he whispered. "Keep it hidden. If they discover I gave it to you, I will not live to see the next dawn." Marcus tucked it into his tunic, sensing its weight far beyond the parchment. That night, under the flicker of an oil lamp, Marcus read the document. It revealed that his father had accused Gaius Severus of embezzling funds meant for a veteran settlement. Names of co-conspirators were listed, each one a man of influence. The ink was faded, but the danger in the words was fresh. Marcus knew this scroll could topple senators or condemn him if found. 2 days later, Marcus was stopped in a narrow alley by 3 men in leather armor. They bore no insignia, but their intent was clear. One spoke, "The past is buried, boy. Leave it there." The clash was brief but vicious. Marcus managed to escape with a gash on his arm, the scroll still safe. Blood stained his tunic, but his resolve only deepened. Seeking allies, Marcus approached Flavia, a former gladiator turned tavern owner. She had connections with both the underworld and the city guard. Flavia listened without interruption, then poured him a cup of wine. "If you want to bring down Gaius, you'll need more than parchment," she said. "You'll need witnesses and protection." Marcus nodded, knowing both would be hard to find. Flavia introduced Marcus to Publius, a disillusioned guard who had once escorted Gaius on a private trip to the provinces. Publius claimed to have seen Gaius hand over sacks of gold to a foreign mercenary band. If the Senate knew, it could ruin him, Publius said. But Publius feared retaliation. He would only testify if Marcus could guarantee safe passage for his family to Sicily. Marcus scraped together his remaining savings, even selling his father's ceremonial armor to fund Publius's escape. As the deal was arranged, he felt the tension coil tighter. Each step brought him closer to exposing the truth, but also closer to the edge where one misstep would mean death. In Rome, justice was a dangerous luxury. The trial was set in the Basilica Julia, where marble walls echoed with every accusation. Senators sat like vultures awaiting a feast. Marcus presented the scroll, and Publius testified with steady voice. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. Gaius's smile faltered for the first time,
but his eyes burned with a promise of revenge. When the verdict was announced, the Senate declared Gaius guilty of corruption and exiled him to a remote island. Marcus felt no triumph, only exhaustion. Justice had been served, but he knew the vipers would strike again. Rome's heart still beat with ambition and deceit. His father's death was avenged, but the city's sickness remained.
As he walked through the Forum, Marcus looked at the statues of Rome's great men, their stone eyes unblinking. He wondered how many had been heroes and how many had been tyrants wrapped in the toga of respectability. The line between the two was as thin as the blade that had taken his father's life. Flavia met him near the marketplace, offering a half smile. "You survived," she said. "That's more than most can say." Marcus thanked her, knowing that without her aid, he would be lying in an unmarked grave. The city roared around them, chariots, vendors, beggars, but in that moment, he felt a rare stillness. That night, Marcus stood on the balcony of his home, the lights of Rome stretching into the distance. He had learned that justice was not a single act, but a constant struggle. As the wind carried the scent of the Tiber, he whispered a vow to his father's memory, that as long as he drew breath, he would keep watching the shadows of the Forum. Weeks after Gaius's exile, Marcus noticed subtle changes in the city. Some senators kept their distance. Others watched him with veiled hostility. He realized that by striking one viper, he had stirred the entire nest. Yet, letters from distant provinces began to arrive, citizens thanking him for daring to challenge corruption. For the first time, Marcus felt the weight of influence settling on his shoulders. One evening, Flavia visited unannounced, bringing news. "There's talk," she said, "that others in the Senate plan to return Gaius by force." The idea twisted Marcus's gut, but he understood. Exile was rarely a permanent punishment in Rome. He decided to prepare, not just for one man's return, but for the larger battle that loomed ahead. Justice, he knew, had no final victory. As night fell, Marcus walked once more to the Forum. The marble stones beneath his sandals had seen centuries of triumph and betrayal. Looking toward the Senate House, he felt no fear, only resolve. His father's voice echoed in his mind. The Republic is only as strong as those who guard it. Marcus tightened his grip on the signet ring. The shadows of the Forum still waited, and so would he.